So in this session, we'll learn how to make overnight oats. This is a jar of overnight oats that I've prepared before. In class, we'll prepare it a slightly different way, but I wanted to show you how you can prepare all the dry ingredients for overnight oats at one time and then combine them with the liquid ingredients at a later time so that you have some oats prepped. So the base ingredients for overnight oats is rolled oats. I like to use chia seeds, although those are optional. I also include some toasted shredded coconut. This is unsweetened. Some ground flax meal. You could do whatever dried fruits of choice and dried nuts. I also like to include a little bit of protein powder based on what flavor I'm going for, or some powdered peanut butter. You could also add regular nut butter if you'd like. So I'm using pint glass jars to prepare my oats. Again, I'm going to compile all the dry ingredients and then choose one or two to add the wet ingredients to. This banana will go in the ones that get served soon. So the base recipe is about a half cup of grains, so whatever, if you want to use all rolled oats, you can do a half cup of that. I like to do half and half chia seeds and half rolled oats. So I go ahead and prep all of the jars the same with the dry ingredients. This will keep up to several weeks in the jar. I mean, think about it. You've got all these ingredients sitting in your pantry in jars by themselves. There's no reason that putting them together is going to change how long they're going to stay good. Then I start to add in the other goodies. So I like to use a vanilla protein powder in some of these. I'm going to do the other two with the chocolate protein powder. You could also just add cocoa powder if you wanted. I just like this because it gives me more protein with my meal. Keeps me a little longer. I love flavoring the chocolate ones with peanut butter. I happen to really like the peanut powder. It has less fat than using the nut butter itself, although that's a great way to do it as well. I like to add about a tablespoon of shredded unsweetened coconut to all of them. I really like coconut flavor. This is optional. You could really flavor this in any way that you like. I also add about a tablespoon of ground flax meal, which I keep in the fridge to keep it from spoiling, to each of these. And lastly, in my vanilla jars, I'm going to add a little bit of dried fruit, about a tablespoon of some dried cranberries, dried cherries, just to give it a little extra flavor. You could also do diced nuts of choice, really any kind of seed that you would want in here. So now I'm going to cap up one jar of each and put these guys in the pantry or in the drawer. And I'll prepare these two jars with the wet ingredients. Now the protein powder I do use is plant-based and it has a good amount of fiber in it, so I really like that as an option. Whey protein, which is found in most protein powders, is quite inflammatory, and that comes from dairy, so I do recommend people to avoid that. I'm going to use soy in my oats. You could really use any liquid of choice. You could even use water. I'm not going to add any sweetener because both the protein powder and the peanut butter powder have a little bit of coconut sugar or other natural sugars, so I'm not going to add that. You could always top this with a little bit of maple syrup if you wanted some sweetness, or stir in some agave. Also, your dried fruit is pretty hard to find unsweetened, so there you're going to get some sweetness from that. So like I said before, I will go ahead and put the peanut powder in there. If you were going to use a nut butter, you would want to save it until you're going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. I'm going to add to my vanilla powder some frozen blueberries, just about a quarter cup. I'm also going to slice half of a banana and add that. I like to slice the banana in the peel, and that kind of keeps the fruit together and the banana, my hand from getting really sticky, and the banana just goes right into the container. I'm going to slice the rest of the banana into this chocolate peanut butter one. Again, if you were going to add a nut butter, it would probably be, 1 to 2 tablespoons would be enough, and you would really want to mix it in. So now that I've got the fresh fruit in, I'm going to add the liquid. You don't have to really measure. It's probably going to end up being about a half cup, maybe a little closer to a cup of liquid. I like to kind of get it started. And then you're going to want to make sure you incorporate all of the layers evenly with the liquid. So you can use a knife or a spoon to kind of mix it all together. You can see once the liquid kind of gets down in there, it settles down. See, I'm going to make sure that I don't have any thick layers of chia or protein powder or anything like that. I want it to all get incorporated so it gets mixed up. Now the chia seeds will absorb a lot of the liquid and it might be kind of thick. So once I get that first mix in, I'll add some more liquid. And I basically want to fill it up to this bottom edge of the jar. That gives it a little room to expand for the chia seeds. If you're using just rolled oats, they won't expand as much. You can always add more liquid when you're eating it. These will keep in the fridge for 3 to 5 days. You can go a little longer than that, but the fruit will probably start to oxidize and maybe give you a little fermented taste depending on how ripe your banana is. So probably want to eat them within 3 to 5 days of making it. But again, the dry ingredients will keep for several weeks to months, just like that. So I usually prepare as many empty jars as I have. You also don't have to make this in jars. You could use any sealable container that you have. A Tupperware, you know, a plastic tub that you're recycling, something that's going to make about 1 serving for you. This is going to be a really hearty breakfast for 1 person. You could also split this into 2 smaller servings. So I'm just going to check that I've gotten everything mixed in. There's still some protein powder there. Make sure the bottom gets stirred really well. Add just a little bit more liquid. And then I'll cap these off and in the fridge they go. These oats can be eaten either cold, which would be, if you're using chia seeds, would be a little bit like a chia pudding, or you can scoop them out of the jar and put them in a microwave safe bowl and microwave for 1 to 2 minutes, adding a little liquid and stirring as you go, and they're really delicious hot. Hope you enjoy.